welcome. Thanks for joining us today. If you joined us for the Green Room Chatter, you heard me call today Monday, and I'm really excited to do that because Friday, i.e. Friday, tends to get all the fun. But Maria is going to be a lot of fun. Maria-Bryan is here with Maria-Bryan-Creative to talk to us about marketing your nonprofit with purpose. So Maria, we're excited to have you here and looking forward to diving into this conversation. But before we do, we want to make sure that all of our guests that are listening live are listening to our 500 plus episodes know who we are. Julia Patrick is here. She's the CEO of the American Nonprofit Academy. I'm Jarrett Ransom, her nonprofit nerd, but also yours, because I like to say there's plenty of me to go around, CEO of the Raven Group. We, of course, are supported and sponsored by so many amazing companies. Thank you so very much to Bloomerang, American Nonprofit Academy, Fundraising Academy, Nonprofit Nerd, Your Part-Time Controller, Nonprofit Atlas, Nonprofit Thought Leader, as well as Staffing Boutique. Please do check these companies out, not now, but in about 29 and a half minutes would be the best time to check them out. We, of course, want to let you know, as I said earlier, if you missed today's show, you want to go back and listen, or any of our other 500 plus episodes, you can find us on Roku, YouTube, Fire TV, and Vimeo. If you have a smart TV, just say the nonprofit show and we will pull up. I'm still joking that we will pull up one day in hologram form, but we might really be working on that so we can be sitting next to you on the couch. And just like the ShamWow and the infomercials, but wait, there's more. So please do pull us up on the nonprofit show in your queue for podcasts, because we are on your podcasting platform. Thanks to our executive producer, Kevin, for making that happen. Maria, time for you. I'm thrilled and welcome.
Thank you so much. And like hologram on the couch is probably like in our near future.
Oh, yeah. We're working on it. In fact, my 11-year-old is at coding camp right now working on that.
Oh, put her on it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. What a great way to spend Monday morning.
Thanks.
You know, Jarrett and I talk about this so much, Maria, on air and off air. And that is, we see nonprofits that do really well because they are beautifully marketed. And I don't know why it's so hard for our sector to embrace this. I mean, I have been in board meetings. I've heard from many, many nonprofit leader who will say, and I have witnessed this, where the board will be like, well, what the heck do we need marketing dollars for? You know, that's a waste of money. I mean, it's just such a horrible conundrum. And so we're really excited to have you here to talk about this, because it really is an investment that needs to be made. And you maintain, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts, that marketing is foundational to any nonprofit success. So talk to us about that.
It really is. And what I love about the nonprofit space and what is so special about the nonprofit space is they really do put their services and programs first. When someone starts a nonprofit, they're putting their whole heart and soul into developing the most amazing, impactful program or service or messaging, as far as if you just want people to, you know, go get checked out for cancer, whatever it is, that is their focus. And what's important to them is that they're delivering the most high quality thing out there. And so marketing is on the back burner. And what I want to evangelize is that your brand must reflect the level of your services. So if you have high quality services, you have to have a high quality brand, because that is what people are going, it's your front, especially now in 2022, it's how people perceive you. It's how you're building trust with people, and not just donors, but partners, getting trust from journalists, getting trust from clients and beneficiaries. If you have a need, no matter what the problem your nonprofit's solving, people are going to make those decisions on whether they're going to take part in your services based on your brand. Based on how well your website looks or how your social media is. Really, makes such a huge difference for buy-in, not just for people who could potentially be your supporters, but even your current supporters. they will, it'll be their best kept secret until you have this phenomenal brand. And then they want to be like, yes, this is the nonprofit I've been supporting for 10 years. So people don't want to invest in marketing, and it goes with the same overhead myth. If it's not directly going to the people they serve, it feels like it's wasted money, it's wasted dollars, but it's absolutely not it. When you make sure that your messaging resonates with people, that you have a brand that is exciting and energizing and motivational to people, if you're telling stories in a quality way, people are just going to want to buy in, and they're just going to want to shout it out from the rooftops.
One of the things we've said here quite often is people want to be on a winning team. Yes. And when our marketing is winning and we have that halo effect of attracting I love so much that you said, this isn't just for our donors. This is for our partners, our collaborators, our clients, our all individuals. And I love that you also hit the nail on the head, because too many, and I'm going to say founders, I'm going to call it out, that they'll say, I cannot put X amount of money towards X, Y, and Z. That's X amount of meals I could purchase, or X amount of dogs I can save. And I'm thinking, and when you invest in these transformational opportunities to elevate your mission, your brand, your awareness, think just then how many more you can provide. So I love that how do you talk to the nonprofit leaders like that, in the space of, no, you're still thinking too small.
Yeah. And it's so tough, because what I was just going to say is, again, when you're a founder, it's likely because you've been impacted so greatly about the issue, and there's this panic, right? Like we just have to focus on it right now. And it is about pushing your vision a little bit and dreaming a little bit about what you can do. And what I tell people is to press pause. And it's so hard, whether you are a founder of a small organization or you're the marketing manager of a humongous organization that's been around for 60 years, pressing pause on what kinds of marketing you're doing now, or maybe other activities, to focus on. Maybe it's writing those grants that will directly fund your marketing activities, or just being strategic about how you're going to use your most precious time and resources to focus on marketing. And here's the thing, even if you do invest in it, it's not going to have, might not come to fruition overnight. Marketing is a long game, right? We all know marketing is a long game. It's so hard when I have clients come to me and they're like, I invested in this influencer, or, and I spent so much on my website, and where are all my new donors? And so it is a balance between making sure that you feel, and a lot of it is mindset, right? So you need to just have the confidence that you are building towards something. So sometimes it might just be a matter of first, occasionally letting people know that this works. When you invest in marketing, it does improve your brand. And what happens when you improve your brand, you're going to be able to amplify your message, get those loyal ambassadors that are going to want to, be your rabid fans and get more donors, and people are going to want to be monthly donors instead of just one-time donors. But once you kind of create that dream, setting those expectations on, well, this is what you can expect the first year, really focusing on marketing, and then in 5 years, and then in 10 years. And having those expectations set are so important, because then you're not feeling so left down that you just throw marketing out the door. Say, forget it, this isn't working.
Let me ask you a question. And this is a really tough question, because, I don't know, I have an answer in my mind, but what is the percent to total that an organization should spend on marketing when it comes to their total annual budget? Do you have an umbrella amount? I mean, I know it's a super hard question.
I love that question. I do not have an answer. And it's not, and I know that this isn't what you're saying, because it's not just about ad dollars, because it's about like hiring someone is still like, it all matters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. Man, I'm going to take that question though. I'm going to see what I can find, because those numbers I know are meaningful.
I say 7 to it. Yeah. My answer is always 7 to 11%.
Yeah.
when I say that, people are like, that's a lot. But the reality is that would be an umbrella amount for your website, for your digital marketing that bleeds over into fundraising because of, the different components of staffing. Yeah, it's a big number, but it should be a big number. So I don't know, Garrett, do you have a sense of that?
I don't, but now is the time for many organizations that are looking at their fiscal year, July 1 start, that we're looking at budgeting. So I'm going to say, let's at least shoot for that 7. Although, Maria, if you get an updated amount, please let us know. And I'm curious, Julia, like, does that 7 to 11% come when you have a laser focused plan? Like, how does that impact it? And Maria, can you talk to us about, as we said, your marketing is never done. It's your website is never done. Your house, if you are privileged enough to own one, is never done, right? So like, is it possible to really have a laser focused plan, or is it expected for us to meander and have these squirrel moments, right?
Yeah. So I will say, before I jump into laser focused marketing plans, which is my biggest passion. When it does come to numbers, so Julia, I will say people are surprised by conversion rates. So to know that really only between like 1 to 3% will convert, meaning if you're emailing, 100 people to come to an event, maybe 1 will come. And so that's a number that really, on one side, we'll set a fire to, we really need to focus on this. We really need to be getting more people following us on social media or visiting our website or joining our email list. But also, I actually was talking to someone the other day who was doing her own personal fundraising for an issue she cared about. And then she was volunteering for a nonprofit and was given a list of thousands of people and no context on conversion rates. And she got like 12 people to start their own fundraisers. And she was just depressed. She was just so beside herself that she wasn't able to, I don't know what she had thought, with thousands of people, hundreds of people are going to do this. And then when I told her, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. And so, so that's on the other side, again, it's just about expectations and knowing that some of it is just a matter of a numbers game and how many people you're reaching. And it has to be just the absolute right time for someone to be able and willing to donate, able and willing to come to an event, whatever your ask may be. So that's something that's the data that I usually share with people when they need to visualize what it's going to take for their marketing to take off.
Oh, that's good. And when you first said 12, I was like, wow, thinking that is great.
Isn't that amazing? Oh my gosh.
But when you talk about having a plan, are you saying that we should be putting these metrics in so that we understand what is a good return rate?
Absolutely. Okay. So I have a really simple framework for having a laser focused marketing plan. One is to have a deep understanding of your audience. And we all, like we kind of mentioned before, it's not just donors and it's not just people we serve. Based on the bigger organizational goals we have, whether we're just focusing on improving our services, or we're trying to get the word out there, or maybe we've got the word out there, but we're really honing in on one particular ask, like becoming a monthly donor or a capital campaign. So having a very deep audience of those people that you are trying to reach is crucial. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is creating those goals and having those objectives and tactics. And I really want people, my students and my clients, to choose very few. Right? Because a lot of times in nonprofit, we don't have this huge team. We're doing it all on our own. So just 1, maybe 2 goals and maybe a few tactics under that. And so that's when we talk about what we call KPIs, key performance indicators, what we are tracking. And I tell people that there are 2 kinds of things that you want to be tracking, your lead and your lag metrics. I don't know if you've heard about this. So your lag metrics are those numbers that you really want to reach, but you never have complete control over it. So maybe that's, you have 100 people on your email list and you want to hit 1,000 by the end of your year. And that's really ambitious, right? But it's great to have like that metric in mind, because then you've done the math of what your conversions are. And the lead metrics are those metrics that you do have control over. So we're going to create a lead magnet. We're going to make that ask twice a month for our social media followers. We're going to do a webinar that's going to, whatever that is. And they can be very much project-based and not necessarily like broader based. So that does a few things. One, it's keeping you accountable to move towards that goal. And two, again, I keep saying this, it's all about your confidence in marketing a lot of times. If your only goal is that 1,000 people subscribing and you don't hit it, or $1,000, let's talk about fundraising, and you haven't hit that fundraising goal, but you put that campaign into the world, or you put all those things out into the world that will help you reach that goal. So a lot of people talk about lean lag, like losing weight. So your lag goal might be that you want to lose 10 pounds, and your lead metrics would be the change in your diet and the kinds of exercise that you're doing, how much more water that you're drinking. So having a combination of different kinds of metrics to keep you on track is really important. And then the last thing is content planning, and not just kind of going, as you go, just to get something out there. Once you know who you're trying to reach and you know how you're going to do it, it's time to actually put all that messaging in place so that this serves a couple of things. One, it makes sure that the content that you're putting on, and I'm not just talking social media, it can be a podcast, it can be keynote, speeches that you're giving. It can be webinars, it can be your press releases.
It can be coming on the nonprofit show.
Absolutely.
I mean, what
you're going to talk about. Like, what are you being authority on? What is it that you want to bring to the table when you're coming on, the nonprofit show? So when you, and I know what some people are thinking, but like things change so quickly. How can you create all of this content in advance? To me, it's never wasted, because when you plan it all in advance, it's going to give you space to make those changes as you go. So let's just say with the campaign, so much goes into planning a campaign. You might be tempted to let's just create the social media and emails as we go, because right now we've got to do all the logistics for the campaign. If you're doing that, there is going to be so many missed opportunities to do those direct outreach, pick up the phone and make those calls, encourage those peer-to-peer campaigns, get the board a little bit more involved, get the staff a little bit more involved. You can't do all of that at once, right? So once you have your game plan, it's time to, and then when I talk about pressing pause, this is a space to press pause and create content, leave room for things to happen in the world, culturally or whatever, a pandemic, whatever it may be. But it's never wasted to have that content. It's going to be diverse. It's going to be purposeful. I mean, we talk about purpose-driven marketing, and people are going to feel like you're talking right to them because you've taken the time to be thoughtful about it.
Do you find, because I know a few of my clients are struggling with this, that many of their social media content is very prescribed and it's not very organic. And so they feel that the audience may feel disconnected, like it's just very robotic and we are pushing this out again. Yeah. And it's like, how do we find that comfortable blend?
I love that. And some people do a really great job. Just planning content ahead doesn't mean that it's just, here's the image and here's the copy and I've created it all and it's putting it on. Maybe it's speaking points for one of your staff to come on and do an Instagram live, and just to kind of give them direction on what to talk about. But I love that, Jarrett, because you do have to put in space to show up. And that's another thing about content planning is it gives you space to be creative about maybe doing some fun behind the scenes, really bringing, your human side of your nonprofit, highlighting, featuring your volunteers and your clients, if it makes sense to do that. Really, our creativity is it's not infinite, it's finite. And if you're planning content as you go, I feel like that will make it feel more prescribed because you're in what I call this marketing manic of like, you just have to get something out there.
Yes.
But when you plan, if you plan 3 out of 5 content things a month, and then maybe 2 of them will be really organic, fluid, whatever is like trending, But if you're doing it every day, that's going to be tough.
One of the things I most adored and still adore when it happens. But I feel like so many companies, nonprofits included, really humanized their mission, their staff, that, like we got to meet their dogs, we got to see their home, we got to see, their family members. Now, I know not all people are really, into that, because it might seem like, oh, that's not professional, but I love it because it's like, look at the person behind this mission. Look at the people that make up this amazing team. And that's what I love. And now we're seeing a lot of these companies that are starting to meet their colleagues for the very first time in person, while they've been working, together, but in separate location over the last couple of years. And again, that humanizing story, do you think that will continue?
Oh, I hope so. What a magical moment.
Yes.
I mean, there is like a toddler or cat in every Zoom meeting that I'm in, and I can't get enough of it. So in the for-profit world, we say that people will buy from people they know, like, and trust. And I think that's absolutely applicable in the nonprofit space.
I agree.
People will donate to nonprofits they know. So you have to get in front of them, and then they have to like you, and then they have to trust you.
That's right.
And humanizing your not just throwing numbers at them, like impact numbers at them, but being likable is as simple as letting your hair down and telling your story. So I'm actually, in addition to teaching nonprofit marketing planning, I'm the marketing director of an incredible nonprofit called Girls Leading Girls. And like many founders, our founder, Bree Russell, who is an incredible leader, wants to put her programs front and center, not herself. But she had a beautiful baby at the end of the year. And let me tell you, the top post for all of 2021 was her birth announcement, her holding her little baby.
I believe it.
Absolutely. I mean, people of course we want to see what's going on in your program, but really people want to know about people and what's going on,
Well, speaking of our mission, and unfortunately our time is flying by, let's take the next couple of minutes to talk about storytelling and storytellers and the impact this makes on our nonprofit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just it's continued from what I said. When you are, I learned this in journalism, right? Numbers can go really over people's heads. Like the context is hard. I see Julia just understanding being in media for so long. It's the stories that are the catalyst for changing hearts and minds and getting people to act. So you might have served 1,000 people, or maybe there's a really alarming stat that your nonprofit wants people to know to get you to act. But when you hear the story of one person or one family that was impacted by this nonprofit, it really can totally change your trajectory and make you become a huge advocate for this issue that you hadn't even heard about yesterday. And now you are just absolutely invested. So the storytelling is everything. It's everything. Really getting to know the people that are being served. It develops that and that trust. And then we'll start with the story. So you tell a story, and then those three things start kind of snowballing.
Before the episode, before I joined us live today, I was just on a call working with a digital marketing, a direct mail campaign provider. We were looking at digital marketing. We were looking at the direct mail piece, so the written copy. We're talking about the story and how important that is to be so relatable. Like we want everyone to open that mail, hear a story of our mission, see a person that is relatable, the community need, and how that resonates with us individually, right? And so how much of that goes into the content and the entire plan, because that's just an element of direct mail, but we've touched on social media, we've touched on phone calls and relationship building. So, let's just dive a little deeper. Like how important is that to doing it so well?
As much as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, like the last campaign that I did, the campaign that they did before was, we raise this much, we'll serve this many people. And that was the whole campaign, like all the numbers.
Yes.
And the next campaign, we didn't, and none of our every message was a story. was a coach whose life was a change, was a student whose life was changed, a parent whose life was changed. And it was like, donate to this campaign because look what it will do.
Yeah.
It was 100% story based, all stories.
Well,
And it's
I think you can take a point, a data point, and I think you can weave that into the story. But I think you're right. If you're just pushing those numbers, I think as a society right now, we are overloaded with data. It kind of loses its magic, but everybody can remember a story. Remembering a number, not so much.
Yeah.
It's a little tough.
Yeah.
And it can be misinterpreted or it can be misspoke, right? But a story, it holds into our psyche somehow.
Yeah. And to add to what you're saying, Julia, and it absolutely doesn't mean just stories alone.
Right.
Like if a post is, we're going to tell a story today and then talk about the data tomorrow, but you can do both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You can lead with the story and then say, this is not unique. This affects this many women in our country, or this many students, or this many pets. So yes, absolutely. I mean, they go hand in hand.
That's a big practice that I teach in grant writing, is really blending those two, the data, the statistics, and the, as we say, the tug and cry kind of moments, because you never know who's reviewing the proposals and how they're making those decisions. And so I really do think having that beautiful blend of data, that research that is local, it directly impacts the community in which you're serving. And then that story in which, the person, going back to humanizes it, right? Makes it so relatable. So it's been amazing to see the change, the shift on so many nonprofit leaders. Maria, you have driven so much of the importance of this home, and we are so grateful that you're here. We wish that time could stop and we could just continue nerding out with you. But Maria-Bryan, CEO of Maria-Bryan-Creative, which I love your logo. That's very fresh.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. My favorite thing to talk about. Nonprofit marketing.
We love this. We love this conversation. I think that we don't talk about this enough across the sector, and we certainly don't invest in it enough. So thank you so much for shining a light on how this really can be, or should be, a central way we approach the business of our nonprofit. So thank you, Maria. Check out her website. It's really beautifully done. It has some great information, and you can learn about the different things that Maria is doing. It's been really a pleasure to have you. Again, I'm Julia Patrick. I've been joined today by the nonprofit nerd herself, Jarrett Ransom, CEO of Raven Group. Again, we want to make sure that we thank all of our presenting sponsors. And hint, hint, Jarrett, I think we're going to have some new logos up there in the next.
You will soon. Absolutely.
So we're very excited, and we're very, very blessed. Again, we want to thank Bloomerang, the American Nonprofit Academy, your part-time controller, the Nonprofit Nerd, Fundraising Academy, the Nonprofit Atlas, Nonprofit Thought Leader, and Staffing Boutique. Again, these are the folks that have been with us day in and day out, that allow us to have these amazing conversations and connect with people really all over the globe, right, Jarrett? I mean, it's not just here in North America. It really is an amazing thing that we've been able to bring a lot of different viewers from around the world. And again, these sponsors make it possible. As we end every episode, we want to remind ourselves and each other, stay well so you can do well. We'll see you back here tomorrow, everyone.